Welcome everyone. Welcome Grace. Welcome Paul and Sanusi. Thank you for coming so punctually. Welcome Mokio. Welcome Kinley Yangzom. And our facilitator is also here. Welcome Professor Karen. We are so happy and excited to have you here today. So the webinar will start in about 2 minutes while we wait for people to join. Welcome Adizatu. It's so good to see you here. Thank you for coming so punctually. Welcome, Alpha. So throughout the session, it will be good if you can type in your questions in the Q&A section. We'll start shortly. Thank you for coming so punctually. My name is Finuela, and I am your regional coordinator for West Africa. I'll be the moderator for the session today. As we know, the webinar is for the business focus, and we'll be addressing market research. Okay. And we know that market research is very essential for a successful business launch and sustainability. We have today with us Professor Karen Aoma, an expert in this area, and she'll be shedding more light on this. So I'll be giving a brief introduction about Professor Karen. Professor Karen is an associate professor in leadership and management from Chandaria School of Business. She holds a doctorate degree in organizational development and transformation, a master's in business administration, as well as a bachelor's in commerce. She's a member of various professional bodies, both international and local, including member of the United States International University, Africa Research, Institutional Review Board, and member of Board of Governors of the Marist International University College, MIUC, from 2017 till date. Professor Karen has participated in various scholarly researches in various countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Sudan, Tanzania, Somalia, Djibouti, Sudan, and South Sudan, and she has over 30 journal publications in both local and international journals, and over 40 paper presentations in conferences. She has also received awards of excellence, including the UCO Africa Top Faculty Award in the year 2013, based on excellent performance in the 2012-2013 academic year. Please let us give a virtual round of applause for our facilitator today as she begins her session. Welcome, Professor Karen Aoma. We are so very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you very much, Finuela, for that elaborate introduction. I hope you're able to hear me clearly. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. You know, with online meeting, you may be talking alone and you don't know you are talking alone. So all the time I have to ensure I'm talking to people. I'm very happy to be here to talk about market research. And this is one of the most important areas that can determine success of a business. Businesses are always springing up by the entrepreneurs, but with no proper market research, then those businesses, we see them phased out, simply because people have not taken care of what their market characteristics are. So in my presentation today, I'll dwell on market research. If I can be allowed to share, yeah, okay, thank you. I think I can be allowed to share something I'd prepared here on market research. Let me just put it on a slideshow. I hope you are able to see what I'm sharing. So market research, my presentation will be based on what market research is all about, the distinction between market research and marketing research. Of course, I'll go through the steps or the process of market research. There'll be some questions here and there to some people. And also I'll be requesting people to write their answers on the chat so that we can interact with the answers that people are providing. In regards to market research, there's really distinction between market research and marketing research and market research. Now, when you come across the word marketing research, it is a process which is systematic in nature to gather really data and record data and analyze data about problems relating to marketing of goods and services. By the way, when somebody talks about products, that is inclusive of goods and services. But then market research is ideally a subset of marketing research. Now, this last bullet here, this one here, is what I'll be dealing with, which is the systematic gathering, recording, and analyzing data about your target market. Now, this is in regard to really who are these people? Who are the market, the potential, and also the current market? So this is what I'll be dealing with, gathering information about your target market for your business, that is for your products and your services. What are their characteristics? Who are they? Where are they? Geographical locations where they are found. What are their likes and dislikes? What about their income levels? Because that can dictate whether your product or your services are meant for them or not, and so on and so forth. So generally, you gather their characteristics so that you can be able to design or have products for your businesses which are best suited for them. So there's a question here which I'm posing, questions every entrepreneur should ask himself or herself. Now, every business owner must ask the following questions to devise effective marketing strategies. And the questions that you're asking are really questions interrogating your target market. So one of the first important questions you ask yourself, who are my customers and potential customers? Now, the question of who are my customers is ideally the people who are already purchasing your products or services. If you are in a textile industry, like, is it Vivian? If you are doing imaging, if you are doing something to do with selling medicine, or you are running a pharmacy, who are really buying your medicine within your pharmacy? And that is what God's Way, I hope God's Way is here, is really concerned about. So who are they? Then who are the potential customers? Those who have not championed your product, but you think they can be able to be your customers or your clients? Who are they? The knowledge of potential, the present customers and potential customers is very important for you to go ahead with what you are ideally doing. What kind of people are they? Where do they live? The geographical region? Do they live within the suburbs? Do they live within town centers? So you must gather information where they live. That will also dictate whether you are thinking about having some branches or you are thinking about having some people to talk to them so that you can be able to establish where your salespeople or where you are going to talk to them. What about the distance, from where the location of your business is situated? That will determine a lot of your initiative actions, because if the location is very far, then you may be thinking about the aspect of transport. How will I reach them? Maybe some of the locations you have to cross some rivers or some ocean. What is it that you're going to use? That is means of transportation. And what is the cost of transport? So you have to establish where these your customers are so that you make critical decisions. Now, the other question, can and will they buy? This is interrogating their purchasing power. What is their income bracket or level? Are you designing products or services which they cannot afford? If you are designing services for people who are earning less than $1 a day, then really you must think about the cost of your product or your service. And therefore, when you price the product or services, they can be able to afford the product, because you're not doing your business just simply because you want to do business. But at the end of the day, you want to ensure that your business is a going concern. It is there today, tomorrow, and in the foreseeable future. And the sales, which is determined by your customers, is what will dictate whether your business is there today or tomorrow or in the foreseeable future. So determination of the economic or purchasing power of your customers is very important. And of course, there are very many available resources that you can be able to access in any country, in Kenya, in Ghana, or in Rwanda, wherever you are. I believe we have the governments and very many other bodies collecting information about the potential, the people, the demographic or the profile of people within a nation. But also it is your initiative effort, ideally, to collect data about your customers, your potential customers. So those are some of the critical questions. And so the questions continue here. Am I offering the kinds of goods or services they want at the best place, at the best time, in the right amount? Because amount is also important here. You may be having products that you have to package in terms of different quantities. And of course, people who belong to lower income cadre, you may wish that you package your products in smaller quantities that they can afford. So is it the right amount there? I'm concentrating on right amount here. Is it the best time? This is something which is very important because products are there for each and every time. If you are in the design industry, for example, you are making clothes. Now, there are certain clothes which are meant for certain occasions. And If it is festive time, are you making clothes which are suiting? I know ladies are normally very particular about dresses which are for each and every occasion. And therefore, so you make dresses which are for specific occasions. If it is festive time, for example, Christians will talk about Christmas time. Is it suiting the Christmas time? But at the same time, are you really availing these your goods and services at the best place? Very important. People don't want to travel so far. Today, we're talking about the village market, the virtual market. You can be able to devise ways to deliver your products at the doorstep of your customers, so that they are not inconvenienced in a way that they take time to reach where you are availing your products. In Rwanda, you can be talking about the motorbikes climbing the mountain, to deliver products to the doorsteps of the customers. Same to Kenya. And I believe each and every country, you may be thinking about using effective means to deliver the products at the right place, at the right time, the right amount, and so on and so forth. Are my prices consistent with what buyers view as the product's value? Again, you have to consider how to price your products. If you are dealing in African countries and generally the LDCs, the least developed countries, normally customers are price sensitive. And if they are price sensitive, it means that they mind what is in their pocket. And if that is so, you don't have to be exorbitantly charging your products at high prices. Most people will go for cheaper products, but can still satisfy, or they can still get the value that they intend to get from that particular product. So you have to devise ways in which you can get to produce or get to avail your services and products at affordable prices for these price-sensitive customers. But at the same time, you're minding about the cost of production, the cost that you have incurred to really avail the product. So that is very important here, that we have to consider that. Are my promotional programs working? Again, this is important because promotion here is concerned about creating awareness about the existence of your product, about where you are found, about the advantages of your products, the channels of your products. So are the programs working? And how will you gauge that your promotional programs are working? You can gauge this by the number of calls that you receive inquiring about your product. You can gauge this by, again, people who are actually buying the products. So if you receive the calls, because when you're conducting promotional campaign or programs, you should avail your contacts. So by getting just the calls, getting some inquiries about your product, emails, and so on and so forth, that, of course, is enough for you to gauge that your promotional products programs are working. What do customers think of my business? Again, this is something you have to ask yourself, and I'll be going through the steps of market research, and this question will actually be answered when we go to the process of market research. That is, what do customers think of my business? Because when you are undertaking market research and going through the process, in most cases, you will get honest feedback about people telling you about your business. Oh, we don't like your business, or we like your business and we like the products that you are putting across to us. How does my business compare with my competitors? Again, you have to undertake what is called intelligent search about your competitors. Who are they? Now, the knowledge of competitors is very important for you to strengthen your activities so that you can outmatch the competitors. So again, this is something important because you cannot just sit there thinking that you are the only one in the business, but you have competition. What are their strengths, the competitors' strengths, vis-a-vis your strength? What are they doing better than what you're doing? The competitors' information can dictate also the success of your business, because if you realize that, oh, they are good at promotion activities, then you have to also think about how to outmatch them. If they are charging lower prices, for example, again, in this regard, you also have to see what to do so that the price you're charging can a little bit lower if your customers are price sensitive, or just at par with the competitors, or you must really aggressively talk about the real benefits of your product vis-a-vis the competitors' product, so that even if you're charging a little bit higher, then people can see the value of your product as opposed to the competitors' products. So these are issues that you have to really think about. Now, the concern about market research and the success factors that you consider in market research. Market research, most important success factors. These two bullets are very important, and let us take note about these. Successful market research requires timely and relevant market information. Timely and relevant market information, very important. When you are gathering information about your competitors, about your market, it has to be timely. You should not be a laggard that is following people. Laggard are those businesses or entrepreneurs who follow. You just follow what competitors have done. You will not succeed. You have really to undertake your marketing research in this case, and be the first one, be the risk taker. So it has to be timely. You have to be strategic. What is the trend, the economic trend? So in order for you to be really timely, you have to be strategic. You have to study the dynamics of the environment, the economic factors, the political factors, actually what we call the pastel factors, political factors, economic factors, technological factors, social-cultural factors. What is happening and how will that dictate the future events, so that as you think about your strategies to put in place, you are already futuristic in your decision making, so that when you are implementing a decrease in your price quotes, you have already foreseen what is happening. For example, today, world over, we are talking about COVID-19. How has that impacted on the purchasing power of people within an economy? You know, people's income has really dropped. The dependency ratio has gone up. And all those variables are affecting purchasing power of people. And these are the people who are your customers. Then if you are thinking about introducing a product in the market, which is not a necessity at this particular time, then you know that you have to undertake aggressive marketing, because at this time, when people are facing economic challenges, people are being laid off because companies or organizations cannot continue paying for people, and people are jobless, and they become dependent to only the people who are still having some economic income. Then you really have to think about what you will charge. People will only buy necessity. So in your marketing strategy, even when you are designing an advert, you have to coin in words, your messages, which will show people that this product is important to them in their lives. And then an expensive research program based on questionnaires given to current or prospective customers about satisfaction or dissatisfaction suggestions of possible new products or services. In this regard, the program, in other words, should not be expensive. Your research programs should not be expensive because it will be eating into your resources. So think about something which is cheap. And today, what is cheap is online marketing. But the question which you may be asking yourselves or asking me on the chat, what is it that you can do to customers who are not technology savvy? Then you really have to devise ways, maybe radio programs that you can use to reach them. Because some of them may be illiterate even to read the print advertisements or some programs. Then you have to think about local languages which you can use in order for you to reach them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now capture the market research process. Because when you are talking about market research, so what is the process involved? What we have to recognize from the onset is that the process can be as simple to complex. Now, the simple one will just involve development of questionnaire to gather information about your customers, the current and potential customers. Now, if your business is still small, then the simple market research will be the one which is suitable for you, because you may not have adequate resources to undertake the complex research where you may be thinking about hiring professional market research firms to conduct primary research for you, because you cannot afford to pay them. So you can be thinking about the simple one. But by the time you will be expanding your business, then you can undertake the complex one where you hire the professional market research firms to undertake for you your marketing research. So the simple one will just involve the development of a questionnaire, because you want really to get information from your customers, potential and current customers, about how they perceive your products and how they perceive your business in general, and also gathering, of course, their characteristics, demographic characteristics, economic characteristics, and so on and so forth, or geographical characteristics. So ideally, we have 7 steps in the process of marketing, of market research. Even if you're talking about a complex one, these 7 processes, steps, are very important for us to go through. So the first process here, the first step is to define market problem or problems or opportunities. And the problems may be very many, and also opportunities may be very many as well. So opportunities can be, for example, you're trying to launch a new product or service. So that is an opportunity already. So you undertake market research because you want to launch a new product and you want to establish where people will partake to that product. And you want to establish whether there'll be adequate sales for your newly launched product, because people who will be receptive to your new product or service will, of course, definitely, you can gauge that those people will definitely become your customers. So there can be market research based on opportunity. And here I'm emphasizing that market research does not necessarily mean that you're researching on a problem. You can research on opportunity, but also you can research on problems. So some of the problems that you can be researching on are issues to do with awareness of your business and its products or services. The market is familiar with your business, but really you're still not doing business. They're not still doing business with you. Your business has a poor image and reputation. Maybe you come across some people telling you, oh, we don't like your business, we don't like your products, and so on and so forth. So you want to undertake research and establish, why is this so? What is happening with my products? What is happening with my business, so that you can be able to correct that problem. Another problem, just an example that can be there, is your goods and services are not reaching the buyers public in a timely manner. So again, that is something that you may want also to research on, so that you can establish why this is so. So there may be very many opportunities that you can research on, and there may be very many problems that you can research on. You know, I want to pause so that I also take a sip of water here, but I want to ask a question. Entrepreneurs who are here, maybe I just stop sharing, and I just want to ask a question. Entrepreneurs who are here, can you write also on the chat? I can see the chat is having so many questions, but I'll go through them later on. But any entrepreneur who is here, can you write on the chat some of the opportunities for your businesses that you think are existing within your region and you may want to research on there? Just one opportunity. Are you there? Are people there, or I'm talking alone?
Yes, we are here with you and we're working on it now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just one opportunity each person. So I'm just checking the chat whether my question was understood. Yeah. Okay, I've seen one question. Two questions. Three questions. All right, so I think there are three postings so far, which are indeed very good. Ekusi Lore, you're talking about how do you handle negative publicity in a budding startup? Negative publicity. All right. Ekusi, you are there? Okay, maybe they are not able to. Yes, very good. I'm seeing some question. Yeah, Ekusi is there. Thank you very much. So how you handle negative publicity? Now, negative publicity sometimes can arise because of awareness. People are not aware about what you're doing, how you are doing, whatever you are doing, the products which are there, the benefits of the product. So that is what can cause negative publicity. At least when you can aim at as much as possible, using all avenues to communicate about what you are doing and what your product or services is doing to them, that negative publicity can disappear. But sometimes as leaders, if there is negative publicity because there's something bad which you had already done, it doesn't cause any harm to say you're sorry. So I believe in power of saying sorry to the public, what mess up you had already done that is causing negative publicity. You remember very many manufacturing firms, when they have mess-ups in their products, what do they normally do for upright CEOs? They come out publicly and say they are sorry. Now, in that regard, then the people who are talking about your company or organizations spreading negative publicity, then they'll stop and patronaging your products and talking well about your product. You remember what Toyota in Japan, when they had mess up, when they were coming up with the, it was Toyota 110, and there was a mess up in the manufacturing process. And what happened, instead of applying brake, it was also messing up with acceleration, which is very bad and can cause accident. What happened? They came up and talked about the mess-up and recalled all the vehicles back and apologized. So it is sometimes good to apologize if there was prior mess-up, and so that you're remorseful about that. But sometimes previously there was no mess-up, so you just have to really communicate and talk about your organization, your business, what it is doing, and what you are up to. So that can really minimize the aspect of negative publicity. Tawina is asking about, I think with the COVID-19, the courier home delivery can work. I think this is not a question But this is an acknowledgement that for sure the courier services can work. But again, in the perspective of market research, you also have to research on what will be the cost implicated on the courier services, because you may be devising this and it will eat into your income, but then that is the solution now that every business should be thinking about. Thank you very much, Tawina. Finuela, there's a concern here from Finuela. In my region, there is an increased need for psychotherapy and mental health services. However, there's limited accessibility to experts due to availability of few facilities. A virtual psychotherapy platform will be an excellent opportunity for business. I agree. This is, of course, Finuela, not a question, but acknowledging that this is a way of now doing things virtual. I agree with that very well. And there's somebody here who has joined with the Phoenix Hot 8 and talking about business opportunity, transport services to do deliveries in different locations. Correct. And I think this is what Finuela has talked about, so that we avoid the issue of moving here and there, different locations, depending on the location. And of course, transport here, depending on the means of transport you're talking about. Are you talking about motorbikes? Are you talking about small vehicles, bicycles? What is it? Are you talking about robots? You know, now we have robots to do business, to deliver products to customers, and robots doing a lot of things. There's also somebody here, host and panels, from two hosts and panelists. In my region, there is increased need for better healthcare delivery. Majority of health facilities are state-owned, and there is a lot of poor service delivery. So this is an opportunity that you can take up, especially if you can be able to take up the business of healthcare services within your region. So that is really an opportunity that you can research on. And the potential people whom you can research on, you can base your research on. Of course, one of the key informants will be the government delivering health services as at now. Ask them questions concerning what kind of health services they are availing to the citizen now, what are the benefits, what are the weaknesses. And normally what I like, when you're discovering opportunities for your businesses, then concentrate on the weaknesses as well, because the weaknesses are the ones that can help you devise solutions, and that is business for you. So think about that, and also the general public, what health services they are having from the government, what are the benefits and what are the weaknesses, so that now when you engage in that particular business of availing health services to the citizen, then you are providing solutions to the general citizen. Ekusi thanks Doc for the elaborate and helpful response to my question. Thank you very much. Phoenix Hot 8, business opportunity, transport services to do deliveries in different locations. My name is Carol. Thank you very much, Carol. I think I've answered that question. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for answering really that question. I would like just to continue. Can somebody tell me you're seeing what I'm sharing? Can somebody say yes?
Yes, we can see the screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I would like to continue. And that was step number 1 in market research. So we go to step number 2. I indeed informed you that there are 7 steps that we have to go through. So step number 2 is that you set objectives, you set budget, you set timetable. Now, when you set objectives, there's normally this word called smarter. I don't know whether some people have already, I'm trying to use my magic pen. It is not writing, but now it'll write, because Phoenix Hot 8 has said it right. Huh? And it is not writing. So you have to set objectives which are smarter. It has refused to write, but it's okay. So objectives should be specific, you know, those words: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, can be evaluated, and relevant to your mandate of your business. So therefore, the objectives that you set should be smarter. Are you able, in your market research, are you ambiguous? Are you very aggressive, and you are setting objectives that you cannot attain within a given time frame? So you have to consider your capacity, your capability in your market research, because you may be thinking about researching a market that is beyond your scope. For example, researching on the whole country. Do you have resources to do that? That is the budget implicated there. Do you have resources to do the whole country? You know, it will take you a lot of time in order for you to gather data from all the citizens in a country. So you have to really think about the region where you think your potential customers and the present customers may be concentrated. And do you have money to do that? Do you have people? Those are resources to do that. So this you have to consider. You have to fit into your shoe. Yeah. And the timetable, when are you doing it? This is important for you to succeed. When am I going to collect data from region A, from region B? Will I be able to do that? Is the time frame I'm setting to do that, is it feasible? Will I be able to reach them? Do I have people to assist me to reach them? You know, do I have some resources or funds or money or even means of transport for these people whom I think are going to help me to reach these people? So these are questions that you ask yourself when you want to undertake your research. Maybe it was an opportunity, the healthcare services that you had talked about. Is it really feasible? Am I going? And also, are you going to reach these people? Maybe you're talking about government. Are you accessible to the government officials who can be able to give you information? Will you be able to secure appointments with them so that you can interview them after designing your questionnaire? You know, you have to think about this in advance. So it is soul searching. You sit down and think about that. And then you put down your budget. Now, if it is transport, I'll be going to point A, B, C, D, and I think this is the amount that I'll use. Yeah, so that is very important. So this is just about the objective that I've talked about. Explore the nature of a problem so you may further define it. Determine how many people will buy your products or service, packaged in a certain way and offered at a certain price. Test possible cause and effect relationships. That is when you are having your products, will people buy, you know? For example, if you lower your price by 10%, what increased sales volume should you expect? So you calculate, you sit down and calculate. Entrepreneurs are good marketers, they are good financial analysts, and so on and so forth. So you calculate, if you lower just by 10%, what sales level or volume will you generate? What impact will this strategy of lowering your price by 10% will have on your profits? So again, you sit down and calculate. That can be an objective, for example, that you want to attain. You want to lower your prices by 10%. Allocate a small percentage of gross sales for the most recent year to use on market research. Always, if you want to succeed, budget on your market research. And in most cases, the best practice have it that always 2% or 2% for an existing business is good enough for you to allocate for market research, 2% on gross sales. So always set aside that, because somebody will be asking, or you will be asking yourself, where will you get money? So it depends on your turnover. So put aside 2% of that turnover. If you have, for example, $200,000, so 2% of $200,000, that is what you set aside to cater for your market research. Planning to launch a new product or business, all these are aspects that are budgeted for. So you may want to increase your budget to as much as 10% of your expected gross sales. And another method of ways in which you can budget, other methods can include analyzing and estimating the competitor's budget and calculating your cost of marketing per sale. So there's the aspect of copying also what competitors are doing, so that you can gauge the budget amount that can go towards your market research. So, but the first bullet there is normally the pragmatic one that I would urge each and every person, entrepreneur, to consider. Always 2%, whatever amount of your gross sales is. So consider the 2% to be kept aside. Because again, if you follow the bullet 3 there, you're following your competitors blindly, then you don't know their strengths and you don't know how they are forecasted in the future, what they want to do. So sometimes they may over budget for their market research, and if you follow blindly, you can fall in a trap. Okay, and on timeliness or schedule there, prepare a detailed timeline to complete all steps of the market research process. So establish when you are designing your questionnaire, when you are collecting data about your market, when you are analyzing, and when you're making decision about the findings of the market research. So have a timeline. So establish target dates that will allow the best accessibility to your market. This is just an example that a holiday greeting card business may want to conduct research before or around the holiday season, buying period, when its customers are most likely to be thinking about their purchases. So that is just an example that you can have, but it is always important to have schedule or timelines. Now, step number 3 out of 7 is about the issue of you as a business person selecting research types or methods and techniques, because you want to conduct data. What are the types or methods or techniques that you're going to use in order for you to collect data or to collect information? Now, there's the primary and the secondary type. Now, the primary one is the original one, that you gather original information for a specific purpose. Original, it is your own idea to gather information. And so you will be using a questionnaire tool or interview tool in order for you to gather data. But a secondary one also can be done, specifically when you don't have time and you don't have adequate resources to allow you to collect data from each and every target respondent, potential and present customer. So you can sit down and get available literature that you can be able to use under the secondary here in order for you to make some decisions. So from books, from today, internet is really having a lot of resource, but you have also to vet the authenticity of each and every information availed in the internet. Some of the available documents can also be statistics within a country, which are availed within government agencies and NGOs and so on and so forth, so you can gather information. But primary one is rich because it is original one. You are the author of the primary one. So it depends on the type or method that you're going to use in order for you to really get available data. So the secondary one, research, is faster and less expensive, as I've already noted, than the primary one. So when you gather secondary research, it may be as simple as making a trip to your local library or resource center so that you, and also browse internet. So that can really be faster, and it doesn't cost much if information is readily available. And it utilizes information already published, as I've said, the surveys, the books, the journals, the magazines. You know, you can get information about your target market, their characteristics, and so on and so forth. And still on secondary, you can also have local sources provide better information as local conditions might back national trends. So those are still the resources of secondary in nature. Newspapers, I had not talked about newspapers, colleges, repositories like libraries, I've talked about that, trade and general business publications, and trade associations and government agencies. You can get all that from primary, secondary sources. So example of secondary research still, an article may show how much working mothers spent on convenience goods. Convenience goods are those which you can buy without spending a lot of time to think about what to buy. Generally, sometimes they're cheap. So some of the convenience goods can rise as, you know, you're walking along the street and you just say, I want to buy ice cream, I want to buy cold drinks, cigarettes, magazine, medicine, over-the-counter medicines, and so on and so forth. Those are convenience goods. And so really, the secondary research you can use in order for you to get information if you are engaged in selling convenience goods. Now, if you are thinking about selling a convenience good, this information would show you what kind of market there is for convenience goods. And that is what I'm talking about. It is important to note that it doesn't show you how much they are willing to spend on your particular product. So that is a disadvantage again of secondary, using the secondary methods. I want to pause there and just ask us a question that in your country for your business, these two important questions. Question one, what are the advantages of secondary market research? Question 2 for your country. What are the disadvantages of secondary research? Now, if maybe I can allow us time just to write on the chart one sharp advantage of secondary market research and one sharp disadvantage of secondary market research, then we go to primary market research. Maybe I can stop writing, sharing, and you can write on the chart one advantage that you think you can really be associating the secondary market research and one disadvantage of secondary market research in your country for your business. Maybe I stop sharing there and then I get some reactions on the chart. And please, maybe you should, you can also talk, you can also write your country so that we know the country that you represent. That is really important. Yeah, keep them coming, please. I can see Ghana is really overrepresented here. What about my Kenya? Zimbabwe, I can see Zimbabwe. Yes, Ethiopia. Yes, so Ethiopia, Rwanda, you can see Rwanda, but then, yes, South Sudan, but then please answer the question, advantage and disadvantage in your country for your business. Okay, Uganda. I'm seeing Uganda. Okay. So they're coming. Ghana. Ghana is really represented here. All right. So maybe I just go through some of the unique advantages and disadvantages for each country using secondary market research. Time consuming for your country, Ghana, that is S1. Oh, sorry, let me start from up. Clifton Chifue. Clifton Chifue, are you from Ghana? Maybe Ghana. Will you give us handout slides for reference after your presentation? All right. I think the organizer will decide to give you that. There's no problem sharing anyway. S1 advantage, lack of knowledge, database. I think this is a very critical concern. Escon, which country is this? Let me see. You didn't write the country you represent. Escon is from where? Escon from Ghana, thank you. This is something that is a problem, is a concern, the data, and especially the timely database. People have got information, but availing that information as at a central point where by each and every person can get access to the data can be a problem. Especially getting the data at the right time is a problem. So I really appreciate this. And so you see, this will be the disadvantage. Large knowledge database, that is what Esquan talked about. And that is an advantage if you have, but again, if you don't have, it is a disadvantage. All right. Alexander, advantage, very less expensive indeed, but they are not trustworthy here in Ghana. So again, not trustworthy information in Ghana. And because I was emphasizing on authentic sources of information. So if they are not authentic, then the information can mislead you. And you may make decisions based on those information which are not factual, and therefore it is your business which is going to suffer. So it is important to establish the authenticity of the information you are getting, especially from the internet. There are some information which are posted which are not authentic. So you must establish the authenticity of the information you're getting. If it is information from the government sources, then that information can be authentic. So first establish, even if you get information from a website, establish that it is actually factual, it is important, and it is something which is going to help you make appropriate decision. So that is something important you consider. Don't just take a decision the way it is before you establish the authenticity. Esquan, you're also talking about time consuming to filter false data. Yeah, of course, you will take a lot of time if you think about it from that perspective, because every information now, you are thinking about how am I going to establish the authenticity of this particular information. But of course, in order for you to get information as fast as possible, we have acknowledged that secondary data, secondary market research is faster. All right, disadvantage time consuming, Esquan. Then on a side, you are thinking about it is a cost-effective alternative as an advantage in Zimbabwe. I think this is important. We've talked about cost, and so that is true. It is less capital intensive, considering the fact that capital for startups is a big challenge, or that is from hosts and panelists. I think this is very important. It is less capital intensive, simply because you're not going to spend money to move from one place to another. You are also not going to spend time, because if you cost your time, time of course is money. If you cost your time, then you are thinking about spending again a lot of money. So really, this is also important. I agree. Somebody from Ethiopia, Abebe, you did not write, you just said you're from Ethiopia, but what is your answer? Okay, Rwanda, also here. I'm here, so you did not write your answer. That is Yusta from Rwanda. South Sudan, sorry for logging in late. Okay, accepted. You know, Uganda, you did Infinix Hot 8, you did not write your answer. Ghana, advantage, data is easy to access, low cost, for data collection. I think we've talked about this, or Espan, that is okay. A desire to advantages of secondary market research include faster and readily available. Indeed, this is important. Tawina, Malawi, the advantage is that it is very easy and cheap, of course, but you have to establish the authenticity for each and every information you get. Information is readily available from Ekuzi Lore. This is very important. Disadvantage, the cost implication can be unbearable. What is the cost implication here? This is Ekuzi from Lore from Kenya. So the cost, okay, if you consider the cost of retrieving information from the internet and spending data bundle, you know, then that is cost. And also your cost sitting down to gather the information. You know, you gather from this resource, you gather from this resource, so you can put them together, that cost. So it is unbearable in terms of time. Your time is a person doing research, gathering the literature. Then from that perspective, you can also think about that disadvantage to be applicable. S1, Ghana, disadvantage, lack of focus sometimes because the data is a lot. I agree with you. If you start researching something, especially if you gather from all the sources, you will realize that information is a lot. You can even become confused. So that is very true. And sometimes you may lose focus about what you are researching. You may also be distracted with some of the information which are not forming the core objective of your market research. So that is something I agree with. Finuela, Nigeria, may not disadvantage may not be really specific to your target population. Very true. Of course, there are some of the ways in which you can do the search. You narrow the search down to what you want to really get. But still, even if you narrow the search word based on the keywords that you really want to research, still sometimes you get a lot of information and still the focus perspective is also lost in that regard. So Finuela is also saying advantage, it is easier to obtain data through the secondary research. Yes, true. Swaziland, easy to find, precious. This is very much okay. I'm from Zambia. Yes, Clifton, you are from Zambia. You've not written your answer. Ghana, hosts, disadvantage, it may not give a true and specific picture of your business opportunity or problem. Yeah, very true, especially when you are narrowing down. I've talked about this, and you are even having the key search buttons so that you search exactly the information that you want, but still you will find a lot of information that sieving them may become very difficult. I agree. Grace Fury, one advantage of secondary research is that data is readily available as what you're researching on has been done already. Disadvantage is that the data you might be collecting cannot be up to date or specific to what you're targeting with the current situation. Very true, and you are from Zambia. Esquan is from Ghana. In Rwanda, business-friendly environment, market accessibility, and geographic centrality. I think, Yusta, this is very good. In Rwanda, I know a lot of information can be there, and Rwandese, I know, normally use a lot of data, information in order for them to really focus on what they want to do. In some specific countries, information may be readily available, but implementation on various information readily available may be a problem. So that is true happening in Rwanda. Oh, there are so many. The disadvantage is that this is on a side. The disadvantage is that there is difficulty in obtaining information specific to my needs. That is true from Zimbabwe. Malawi, the data may be outdated, true. Ghana, a DSO2, disadvantage of secondary, non-specific to research topic, also small sample size, may not be the actual reflection of the population. Okay, that is true, Clifton. Okay, and you have so many here. I think some of them, Peter, less time consumed, success, Eugene, these data might not be authentic. Yeah, we've talked about less time consumed and so on and so forth. So you Simu, Christabel, time saving, low cost, generate new insights from previous. Yeah, surely, true. I may not read all of them, but I think some of them are actually, most of them are actually repetitive in terms of advantages and disadvantages. And therefore, if that is those are the answers, then can we go now then to the primary one, the primary research? The aim of the primary research is to sort out the disadvantages that you have already posted on the chart about the secondary research. So the primary one, as we have noted, is original. You are focused on your specific objective and you're coming up with your new idea. So the examples of primary research that you can use, you can have questionnaire to assist you collect data, online or telephone surveys. You can sit down with your phone, have a lot of units in order for you to interview your potential customers and potential customers and current customers. But the essence of having telephone calls is the knowledge of address of the potential customers. And you can imagine having addresses of potential customers. Even if you talk about direct mail questionnaires, you must have email addresses of these potential customers. So again, that is also another hassle there. And you can also use experiments depending on your business, especially businesses which require experiments like hospitals. You want to start up an hospital, imaging, center in Madari, Kenya. Experiments can also be used. Panel studies can also be used, where you have some people and you're asking them questions in a panel so that you get their ideas about your products and your business. Test marketing can also be done, especially if you are thinking about starting with a small market and seeing their reactions before you go to a bigger market. Behavior observation, this is also another thing that you can do. What is it? How are they behaving? These potential and current customers, and that can really make you have some insights towards your marketing strategies. So the primary research is divided into two, that is reactive and non-reactive. So when you are having non-reactive, you are observing how people behave. You just sometimes stand in a shopping center somewhere or a market somewhere or a gathering somewhere and check on how people behave. It is non-reactive because you're not asking them a question, but you are observing. Now, you can also have some gadgets of observation. You can use, that is, your camera, your mobile camera or a camera, and even a hidden camera, because again, if people see you that you are taking their photos, you have to ask them for permission, and that will be reactive in nature. Therefore, it is important that if that is the case, then you ask them permission, but that will be reactive in nature. So non-reactive, it means you are just there. You are intelligently asking them, I mean, observing what they are doing and making your own conclusions about what they are doing. Then reactive research, this is the one which is commonly done. Surveys, interviews, use of questionnaires, so that you can be able to get information and sit down with information or data and analyze. So I move to step number 4. And step number 4 is about design market research instruments, the instruments that you're going to use, especially for the reactive one. And even if you are using the non-reactive research, market research, then again, you should have an instrument, because even after the observation, you will sit down somewhere and ticking what you observed. So the questionnaire is one of them. The discussion guide is also one of them. That is the interview schedules. And observation or experiment is also one of them. Questionnaire, you sit down and write questionnaires. Discussion guides or interview guides, you also sit down and write them. And even what you are going to observe, you just don't go to a gathering place without having prior written something down guiding what you're going to observe. What is it that you're going to observe out of the market? So the questionnaire there is normally termed in research as the thermometer for your data collection. Now, this thermometer is very important, and it is the commonly used instrument. What we should observe, excuse me, is that keep these tips in your mind when designing a questionnaire. Keep it simple. Don't use jargons. Don't show the powers of jargons you use. Keep it simple. English, or even your the language you use in French or your mother tongue, keep it simple so that people will find it easier to answer. Then begin the questions with the general questions before you move towards specific objectives. General, where do you go, which region, do you stay? What about your education level? Those are general ones. Before you move to the specific ones, if you wanted to start maybe a branch somewhere, the specific ones now will be about the branch. What if we establish a branch within this particular place? Will you still be accessible to our products and services? Those are specific. What would you want the branch to offer you? Those are specific questions. Now, those only come in after you have already began with the general questions, the background questions in nature, so that somebody feels comfortable to start answering easy questions which are specific to them and which is touching them before you go to the core meal. I normally call it the core meal. The core meal are the specific questions. So begin the survey with general questions and move towards specific one. Very important. Design a questionnaire that is graphically pleasing and easy to read. You see, when you will be emailing during COVID-19 now, you cannot expect to go from one place to another or hire some research assistants to help you collect data. Sometimes you may be prevented from doing that because of COVID-19 protocols, and that can delay your process. So if you're thinking about the online emailing or telephone or whatever, you think about all this, design a questionnaire that is graphically pleasing and easy to read, especially if you email to these people. Proofread the questionnaire before you email to your target respondents or potential respondents. Towards the design of the questionnaire, there are types of the design here. The questionnaires can be closed-ended or open-ended questions. So you can be having closed-ended questions in the questionnaire or open-ended. Closed is where you restrict them, give them choices so that they tick on those choices. For example, yes or no, or strongly agree, disagree, neutral. So you can have what we call Likert system of designing questionnaires, the closed questionnaires, where you give them possible areas to tick, addressing those questions. So respondents are controlled about how they answer questions. So there are multiple choices, as opposed to open-ended, where you have questions and any respondent can be able to write what they feel about the question. Now, it is important to establish circumstances under which you use closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. Now, when you're dealing with target respondents, especially customers and or potential customers who are not knowledgeable and whom you think may go astray answering your questions, then it is advisable to deal with to use closed-ended questions rather than open-ended questions, so that you restrict them to the answers you want them to provide. If you think you're dealing with customers who are knowledgeable and whom you think can give you some insights about your business, then it is rather important to use open-ended questions that allow them opportunity to react to your questions and provide their own insights about what you are asking them. So you do soul searching about the customers you're dealing with. Again, under the types of questions in the questionnaire, you can also think about scales and the aspect of filling in the blank spaces. When you use the scales, it is the same with the closed-ended one, closed questions, where you are providing ranges, scales, ranges. For example, the scale may range from strongly disagree, agree, to disagree, strongly disagree, disagree, and indifferent to agree and strongly agree. So it is the Likert one. Fill in the blank still is falling under the open-ended that I've just talked about. For example, a question might read, when I buy medicine for stomach abscess from God's Way Pharmacy, I normally feel better, and the medicine usually costs about $1 per packet. So under the fill in the blank, you may want to leave out feel better. So it is dash so that somebody can fill in. And the medicine is usually, costs about, so the $1 you can also leave blank so that somebody can be able to fill in those blank spaces. So you leave in feel better here, and also usually costs, sorry, $1. You leave in blank so that somebody can be able to fill in. Again, when you are dealing with the knowledgeable people or target customers who are knowledgeable, then you can leave blank there. You cannot expect that when you are dealing with people whom you think will not even get the answers right. So you tend to come this other side for customers whom you think may not be very, very knowledgeable to deal with the questions. So we should note this, and we should note this side and circumstances under which we can be able to, we can use them. All right, so step number 5, therefore, out of 7 is for us to collect data. We've already done our questionnaire, and now we are very satisfied and comfortable. We now want to collect data under the primary research here. We should be unbiased as much as possible. Now, in order for you to collect data in a pragmatic way, you should secure permission from the people whom you want to collect data from. It should be in such a way that you don't ambush your customers. Otherwise, you're not going to get information that you want. You should give them adequate notice. You should secure appointment. Now, in some countries, even collecting data from people without securing permission from reliable agencies, it's illegal. Let me provide example in Kenya. In Kenya, if you want to collect data from any group of people, you must secure what is called a permit from a government agency. So you carry it with you. And before, even after carrying it with you, that permission letter, still you have to secure appointment from your target respondents that you will be really interviewing them and inquiring, getting information from them about your objective of the market research. So these are issues that we should observe within each and every country. What are the legal framework for collecting data from the citizen? So it is important to find out that. So again, when you are collecting data, you should obtain clear, unbiased, and reliable results. So collect the data under the direction of experienced researchers or trained staff. Now, if you think you're trained, then do it yourself. But if you are to get some other people to do it for you, then they have to be trained or experienced in collecting data. Otherwise, you will get information which is time consuming, and it is going to take you nowhere at all. It's not going to help you make decision for your business. So it is important to really observe that. So before beginning data collection, if you're using some people, train them. Tell them this is what I want to be done, and this is how you're going to ask questions. And these are the likely answers that really the respondents should be able to give you. Number 7, organize and analyze the data. So after receiving the data, sit down, clean up the data, code them, and analyze. You can use various software to analyze your data, or manually analyze data if the data is not a lot, so that you can write a report about that data. So then the 7th one, which is the last one, is that once marketing information is collected and analyzed, present it in an organized manner for you to make a decision. Don't be confused, be orderly so that you can be able to make a decision. Because when you are designing the questionnaire, you are able to really establish that these are the questions that I want to get the answers, or questions that I want to take to my customers, and the answers that I want them to give me. So sit down and get the information well presented for you to make your marketing decisions. Now, you can document the market research findings in the marketing analysis section of your business plan. A business plan is a big document, which of course is containing marketing plan, but the information that you have gotten from the market research should also get itself in the business plan. And you can use business plan for very many purposes. But one of the most critical information that appears in the business plan is the market research information. And therefore, there's the activity there, which time will not allow us to do. Explain the benefits of conducting market research to your business and also to your customers. Now, this you will do on your own, because when you think about getting that information from your customers and putting that information together, the last step there, this last step, putting it together and documenting it in the business plan, what benefits will be attributed to your business and also attributed to your customers? I think this is the most important question at the end of my presentation here, that as you go and settle down, think about all this process, even if you are doing the secondary market research or primary market research using a questionnaire and all that, and gathering information and putting it down in written form. What is it that you're going to use that information for your business and also for your customers? I want to stop there, and I want to say thank you very much for listening and having this opportunity to attend this webinar. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Professor Karen, for this very beautiful presentation. I know we can't hear ourselves clap right now, but if we can give a virtual round of applause, that would be very nice. So thank you so much, Professor Karen. I really liked this session on market research and how you took us through the steps of market research. So it was really beautiful. And I liked especially the aspect of how saying sorry to the customers when the entrepreneurs have made a mistake is also a very essential aspect of business. So once again, thank you for the presentation. If you have any questions, please, the attendees, you can type your question in the chat box and I will read it out to our facilitator. In the meantime, we have some questions here for our facilitator. One of it is there a need for market research for small scale business?
All right. Finuela, you want me to answer straight away, or maybe rather you can read all the questions, then I answer them at a go? What do you prefer?
Okay, I'll read all the questions and we can take them at a go. So, is there a need for market research for small scale business? The second question is it okay to base one's business mainly on secondary research, considering the fact that sometimes the finances are not so forthcoming for doing a comprehensive primary research? Then the other one is talking about trying to ensure that one's business compares with the competitors. What if it is a new initiative? How do you go about that? Then further questions in the chat. Okay, great. So that's all we have for now. If there are more, I'll read them out.
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, thank you very much for the questions, those who have asked questions. Is there a need for undertaking market research for small businesses, if I got the question right? Indeed, yes. Businesses start small, and it is important to undertake research. It depends on what you are doing that you call research. Even observation is just research enough. It does not mean that you have to go through the process of undertaking complex market research. Just observation alone is enough for you to say, I've done my business, I've done my market research, and these are the findings, and the findings can just be observation. You don't have to go through the lengthy way of undertaking primary research and going through the steps that we have gone through, but even just that observation you're doing, you will realize that you are also going through some of the steps that we have already gone through, even though that is not complex. So I want to say, yes, even for a small business, it is important to do some market research, depending on the depth and intensity that you do the research. But it is important because those small businesses, you would wish that one day they become big businesses. And if it is small for today, tomorrow it is going to be big, depending on how you manage your operations, you manage your business. Any person starting a business is not really wanting to remain at the position where they started business. You want that in future, your business can expand and grow to have very many branches and of course succeed amid competition. So I want to say, yes, even though you're just starting, but still it is important to establish what are the characteristics of my customers. Who are they? What is it that they like? What are their economic economic status? What is it that I can do to them better so that I keep on, expanding my business? So I want to say, yes, there's need for even small business to undertake market research. Now, there was a question, Fiduela, about, have I forgotten the question? Secondary research. There was a question about secondary research. Fiduela,
Yes.
if you can, yes.
Yes.
What was it about? Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you have answered it. If it's okay because of finances to just use secondary research, but you have answered that primary research can also have simple means that don't require resources or finances that are too cost intensive. The other question was, what if it's a new initiative? Do we still have to compare what our competitors have to offer if there are no competitors in that sense?
If there is no competition, then you don't have competitors. So what are you comparing it with? If you are the lone ranger in the market, then what you should do is always to undertake market research at the same time. You never can tell when competitors will crop in. I normally compare with I normally compare with a situation where somebody has started selling maybe some convenient products or goods, such as sweets, at a bus stop somewhere, and a cigarette at a bus stop somewhere, all right? And then you are just a lone ranger there. All of a sudden, you find some people are also starting to pull in their convenience goods and competing with you. So even if you're a lone ranger in the market, you don't have a curtain for people, potential competitors, seeing what you're doing and admiring what you're doing. So in the near future, you'll find that you have competitors. So in order for you to keep pace and ensure that your business is always the best, keep on doing your research. Because if there are some dislikes that have been discovered by your potential customers and also your current customers, when a competitor crops in, then you will realize that they switch on to the competitors, and it will be very difficult for you to convince them to come back. So yes, you do market research for you to be steady in that market where you are a lone ranger, for you always to be the best, even so that when there'll be competitor in the future, you will still have opportunity for your customers to consider your business and your products to be the best in that market. Thank you.
Thank you very
Any
much.
other question?
Yes, thank you very much for that response, Professor Karen. We have two more questions and the two last ones. One is from Success from Nigeria, and she says, can we do market research before launching? Must it be when the business has started? Can it also be done before the launch of the business? And the second question is from Alexander from Ghana, if it is okay to include closed-ended questions in doing specific market research.
Very good questions. Before launching, can we do market research before launching? Indeed, it is important to undertake market research even before launching your business, before launching your product, because you want to launch your product and you want to establish that you are certain that this business is going to thrive, this business is going to succeed. There are already customers whom I can fulfill their needs, and I can fulfill, you can exceed their expectations. So even before you launch your product, it is important to undertake market research so that you establish whether you will be able to fulfill their expectations. For example, if you're starting up hotel business, for example, you're thinking about starting up hotel business, and your target customers may be people who are government officials, dignitaries, and you're thinking about a place where you're going to construct a big building where people are going to get into your hotel business. And the area is an area which is not secure. Do you think dignitaries will get to that area? Definitely not, because the area is not secure. Maybe it is within a very remote area. Accessibility may be a problem to the dignitaries. So there is where you will be targeting a wrong market. So we normally undertake market research even before starting a business, before we launch the business. Because before you launch a business, the information of market research should also guide your business plan. Before you have your launch of the business, you should have a document called business plan, which is having profiles of competitors, marketing plan, business profile, how is it registered, financial outlay, the business plan itself. So it is important to do that. Now, you also asked, somebody has asked a question, I hope I've answered that. Somebody has asked a question, should we have closed-ended questions? I've already talked about circumstances under which you consider closed-ended questions, circumstances to use them. And those are the well-researched circumstances to use when you closed questions, when you want to design your questionnaire in a way that you will be thinking about getting the right answers for your specific market research. So I would advocate that if you want your research or your market research analysis to be as easy as possible, use closed questions, but also consider circumstances under which you use the closed questions, the closed-ended questions. I don't know whether I've answered the questions. If it is not clear, I go back and answer the question. I think I'm still remaining with some few minutes before I start next meeting.
Thank you so much, Professor Karen. Yes, that was a very beautiful response. Thank you very much. And thank you to our attendees for asking questions and for making this very interactive. Somebody had asked about the slides. Yes, it's to be made available on Facebook, on our website also. And the recording of this session will also be available in case anyone is interested in watching it again. And at this point, I will ask Professor Karen if she has any last words for us before we close the meeting. Sorry, Professor Karen, we can't hear you. I think you are muted. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I think my internet was having some instability. You asked a question, but I didn't hear, please. If you could kindly repeat.
Sure. Thank you very much for the session. It was very beautiful. We're asking if you have any last words for us.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for organizing this webinar. And I've really enjoyed interacting with you. And I want to say that I've hurried on various presentations that I've made, but because of the time that was allocated. And so what I would like to say as a parting shot is that go and do, the business entrepreneurs who are here, go and do all that appertains to your market research so that you are successful in your market research. And just want to wish you the best, the entrepreneurs who are here, the best in your businesses. I've really enjoyed interacting with you, and thanks I want to appreciate Wales Mountain for having considered me to give this important talk about market research. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, the attendees, for coming. Thank you, everyone, for making this webinar possible and making it a success. So we'll be ending the webinar.
Thank you
now.
and bye. Bye. Pinuela, bye.
Thank you.